For me, when I put the word meaningful next to happy, compare and contrast, whatever, and same thing with well-being, it's more like what I've heard this, what is his name? Locke Kelly. He's this like wild meditation teacher, like really interesting dude. And he talked about the difference between lowercase h happiness and uppercase H. And so sometimes people confuse the two, right? What Don Draper was talking about when he's talking to a bunch of businessmen and saying like, you know, you're happy with getting 65% of the market. Like, yeah, you're rich, but haven't you figured out like rich is not good enough? Like you become satisfied with that when you get it, and then you become unsatisfied and you want more, right? So that feeling of happiness is the moment right before it's not good enough anymore, right? But there's this capital H happiness, which is more words like inner peace, tranquility, well-being, I would say. It's like a wisdom of understanding that happiness is not something you have. It's not something you hold on to. It's not something you are permanently ever, right?
Yes.
It's waves. Happiness comes in waves.
Definitely.
And I would say you're right that if you're aiming more at this idea of whatever it means, we'll save that for a different episode, but a meaningful life, that meaningful moments, you get signals of meaning through these like bubbly waves of happiness. And you can get small h waves of happiness, meaning like you're eating a delicious meal. You can get like medium h waves of happiness. Maybe you're eating a delicious meal with someone you love, you know?
Yes.
And then you're on a vacation, you're just appreciating like where you are in life, right?
Yes.
And then I wrote this in my phone today because I had a memory pop into my head. I think the biggest capital H version of happiness is the ones that happen even in like dark moments.
That's true.
Meaning like
when it's very easy, like most of the time, I think it's very easy to feel the bubbly version, you know, when you have a slight buzz going on, etc. When you're like doing shallow things, like that kind of hits you for a second. But yeah, I think that's like a more deep version of it.
I was thinking like almost at my grandma's funeral, I remember after one of the wakes, not everyone, but let's say like a third of the people there, a lot of the cousins and some of the uncles, there was like a restaurant bar kind of like right across the street from where the wake was. And like everybody had just been crying, you know, but we were sitting there and then like there was this sort of like, it's this capital H happiness. What I mean is like, it isn't just like this isolated moment of like, oh, here's all the good stuff in life. It's like this big encompassing moment of like, I'm holding it all. Like I see the dark side of death and suffering and all of that. And it's all contained within this sense of well-being and acceptance. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes. Marcus
Aurelius calls this to be in peaceful unity with what must be. So there's an element of surrender to it, you know, a sort of just accepting reality as it is and feeling very grounded and centered and peaceful and tranquil, right? I'm just saying a bunch of synonyms really, but this is what I think people mean when they say capital H, like happiness.